I feel like it's going fine. I think that people are kind of overreacting. I think that this was a fine segment. We get it. Okay. You want Roman, brother. We get it. Okay. I think that as I said to you before we went live, I think the biggest problem that the Bloodline 2.0 is having isn't from a lack of effort from the guys involved. I think that Solo doesn't have the same commanding presence that Roman does, but we also have to remember how much newer Solo Sikoa is, not only to WWE, but to this role, and how seasoned Roman is. So yeah, it's not going to be the same. But I think that's the problem, is that we're comparing it to the original Bloodline far too much. So you're just setting yourself up to be disappointed and holding Solo specifically to a standard that he can't achieve. And so then you're sitting back and complaining about how you just don't think that it's working. It's like, no, because of the expectations you have in your brain. You're not buying into what they're trying to do. And then you get online and complain about it. I feel like that's what it is. If you just are paying attention to what they're showing you, then I don't see why it's so bad. I don't get it.
They lack the ability to see that this is not supposed to be a Bloodline replica.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be comparing Tama and Tonga to Jimmy and Jey Uso, and it's not. It is a new era. Like, it's a new version of the Bloodline, and they're doing different things with it. It's so good because it's setting up the eventual, obviously, Civil War that we're doing, whatever. But not only that, it's setting up for future ideas with it. I was going to write this in my notes, but I forgot. This is WWE setting up a Bullet Club type of faction. And I mean this not in the styles or the, comparisons, in the sense that New Japan has done this forever, or a long time, with their factions. There's one I forget the name of, but Nakamura was a part of it. And now, obviously, Bullet Club, where it doesn't matter who started it or was in there to begin with, it still lived on. The Bullet Club has had its own history. The Bloodline's doing that too, and it's family. That's the other thing. They're all related. It's insane.
I feel like
it's yeah.
To me, it feels like what they're trying to do is more of a Bloodline that The Rock would have had. Like, what they're doing and how they're behaving based off of heel Rock this time around feels more of like they would fit if he put a Bloodline together. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't something that I feel is supposed to be, oh, this is the next generation of the Bloodline after Roman. Like, he's not, Solo's not trying to step in Roman's shoes and be like, okay, I'm going to continue the work that he started. No, he's trying to, create his own path, his own group around him the way that Roman did, but they're going about things a lot differently than at least at the beginning of Roman's Bloodline. And it just feels, like I said, to me, it feels more of on par with how The Rock was. Like, even the way that people are like, oh, I'm not buying into it like 100%. I'm like, that's, to me, I feel like it's kind of that old school vibe where it's like, when The Rock was beating up Cody around the arena, like, it wasn't like, it's hard to explain because it's like, it doesn't, there's just something about The Rock doing it that it doesn't feel like, oh wow, that was like super good. It's like, it feels like a little cringy, but like, you're like, oh, it's The Rock, it's okay. I feel like that's kind of how this feels. Like, sometimes you're just like, oh, I don't really buy it. Maybe it's a little cringy, but it's like, it's fine. Like, this is what it is. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like, because you just don't buy The Rock doing this. And maybe that's why people just like Solo doesn't come off like that type of guy either. I think Solo was just thrust into this role, and I feel like it was the perfect opportunity because Roman was taking time off. And I've said that I predicted this over a year ago that Solo was going to be the next tribal chief or like the next head of the table. I said this a year ago, and now it's coming to fruition.
Kind of unbelievable, really.
So, like, I think that he was put into this situation, and maybe they didn't properly prepare him because obviously they weren't having him talk. They weren't really having him do a whole lot. They're just like beating guys up and then leaving. So it feels like then to put him into a position where he's supposed to be a leader and then like being the next guy up after Roman Reigns, it's like being the next quarterback after Tom Brady. Like, it's just not, it's like, not going to be great for whoever is
It's
in that
not.
situation.
It's
And I
not.
feel like that's kind of what's happening with Solo. And it's unfortunate because I think that he could be really good, but it feels like it might have been too early or too soon.
I think he's fine. Everyone needs to stop overreacting.
I think, and like I said, I think it's just because they keep comparing it to what we've already seen and they just don't want to buy into it. And now all of a sudden they miss Roman. That's like the problem, you know? And it's like, but if Roman had retained his title, you wouldn't be saying all of this, you know? You would be begging for him to leave. You'd be begging for Solo to turn on him. Like you'd be doing all that. So it's like, what do you want then? Like, I don't know. I think at the end of the day, we just need to give it time. If it sucks in like a month or two, then yeah, okay. But like, I think right now it's just a little early.
I don't think it's gonna suck in like a month or two.
I'm not saying I think it will. I'm just saying.
No. I know what you mean.
Yeah.